Good morning, everyone. Have you ever been window shopping? And I don't mean buying new windows for your house. Back when I was a child, when shopping malls were rare and box stores barely existed, there was a downtown with a main street where I used to live. And it was full of unique stores. And that's where people would shop every day. They'd shop for clothing and shoes and hardware. There were bakeries and pharmacies. And my favorite store, the Five and Dime. You could get everything there. They had sewing thread and notions. They had oilcloths for your table and dishes. They even had bug spray, children's toys, and my very favorite place in the store, the penny candy counter. Terrific place. But one thing that all these stores had in common is out front, they all had these big plate glass windows. And then they would, of course, display all the wares that they sold. Now, a favorite pastime of mine, especially on a Saturday afternoon, I would walk from one end of town to the other, all 3 blocks, and I would gaze longingly into the store windows and imagine what I would buy when I would be a grown-up. We'd have seasonal changes of the windows. In the fall for homecoming, the high school kids would paint their slogans in the colors on the glass. And then you'd find ghouls and goblins and pumpkins and corn stalks in the windows, so you knew it was October. And at Christmas time, Santa sat in a big chair in the hardware store window, surrounded by wrapped presents. And all the little children would get up on his lap and whisper what they wanted for Christmas. I mean, who needed TV when you have this kind of homegrown entertainment, right? But one year, the owners were starting to notice they were losing some of their shoppers. In the next town over, they had built one of those shopping malls. So they put their heads together and they came up with a brilliant plan to lure their shoppers back into the stores. A contest. Now, each store would display their usual wares in their front windows. But there was to be one exception. A single item in each store windows was something that wasn't sold in that store. And so everyone would have to go downtown, look in every store window, try to figure out, what is it they don't sell? And then usually have to go in the store just to make sure they picked the right item. Isn't that amazing? What a great idea. Maybe we should try that here. But if you were the person that could pick all those items out, then you were the winner of the contest. Now, the entry form was right in the newspaper, making it easy for everyone to join in. And so everybody did. Well, sorry to say I didn't win the contest. I probably had to be 18 anyway, so I wouldn't have made it. But as a result of that contest, so many people went downtown and looked in the windows and looked in the stores, and now they had a better idea what they could buy in their own town. And so they really didn't need to go in the next town over to shop. I think it was successful, at least for a while. But that pastime of window shopping, it reminds me of a habit that I think we all do occasionally. You look longingly at the things that you don't have, or the circumstances in your life that maybe aren't as good as somebody else's are. And just like window shopping, you just look. You don't really have any intention of buying, or that is, making it a reality in your life. You just say, oh, wouldn't that be nice? What if? Instead, why not say, why not? Why not have what you want? I remember a comedian from years ago who used to say, if you think money can't buy happiness, You just don't know where to shop. But I prefer to look at it this way. If you're pushing your nose against the shop windows and not having the life that you want, then you're obviously not using your innate powers to create the life that you want. So what is holding you back from doing that? Well, maybe not knowing where to start. Well, today, we're going to get rid of that excuse. We're going to get you on the right track. We're going to remove those excuses so you can start creating your reality. Now, the biggest obstacle seems to be a lack of clarity about what you want. When I was passing that time window shopping, I used to make a game out of it. When I would stand in front of the very expensive Carol Ann dress shop, I'd say to myself, which do I prefer, the red dress or, the blue dress? I guess I wasn't one of those girls that wanted them all. But what I was doing without realizing it was practicing discernment, or another way of clarity. See, our earthly experiences provide us with lots of choices of what you like and what you don't like. But it's up to you to make it clear to the universe which experiences you prefer. If you put a suggestion out to the universe, I want more money, chances are you're going to look down and find a penny on the sidewalk. Voila, more money. Not exactly what you wanted though, right? So you have to be very clear what you're looking for. But equally important to knowing what you want is knowing what you don't want. Remember the rules of the window shopping contest. You have to be able to pick out what doesn't belong in that window display called your life. All right, let's exercise our minds a little bit right now. It's still pretty early in the day. It's healthy to imagine. Imagination, after all, is one of the 12 powers that Lori was talking about earlier today. It's the call to power because it's your authority to create. So let's use your imagination. Henry David Thoreau said, "If you built castles in the air, your work need not be wasted. That's where they belong. But now build foundations under them." So as you imagine all that you desire in your life, think of every detail and write it down. Take a couple pages in a notebook and write down the places, the colors, the amounts of everything that you would like in your life. So once you've done that, then you're setting in motion. Seeing it in your mind is the first step to creation. However, that's not quite the only step. The next component to reaching absolute clarity about what you want is your feelings. See, once you've window shopped what it is you want, the next step is to go inside and try it on. See what it feels like to have your desires. Experience those feelings in your body. Are you happy, ecstatic? Maybe your heart's starting to race a little, or maybe you feel calm and a wave of contentment. We get so accustomed to ignoring our feelings throughout the day. I mean, think about it. You get thirsty, and you're so busy, you don't even take time to go get a drink of water. Just pretend you're not thirsty. Or maybe your feelings got hurt about something, but you just stuff that down inside because you don't want to have a conversation with somebody about your feelings. But it takes real effort to tune in and really feel what you're experiencing. So give yourself permission to experience how attaining your desires is going to feel in your body and in your mind and even in your soul. I've carried around a mantra in my daily planner for years, and I admit I don't read it every day, but it really says it very well. This is by Abraham as channeled to Esther Hicks, if any of you have ever read any of that. It goes like this. Today, no matter where I am going, no matter what I am doing, no matter whom I am doing it with, nothing is more important than that I feel good. Today, I will look for what I am wanting to see. I am the creator of my reality. I will reach for the best feeling that I can have right now. And then thought by thought and feeling by feeling, I will focus the vibrations of my mind into alignment with my inner being. I will feel for the true vibrational essence of my being, and then I will guide every thought into alignment, because that is the true meaning of a balancing of energy. So to make sure that you have that feeling part of clarity working for you, find ways all day long to feel good. And it's not being selfish. Feeling good is essential to your well-being and to living your best life. A good friend of mine, who don't see her here today, but she might be listening virtually, says, if you're not feeling bliss, you're doing something wrong. You know who you are. So once you've seen your desires and you've experienced the feeling of having your desires, well, now what? Like, where is it? Dropping from the sky? Well, there's one more little step in that manifestation process. But you'll be happy to know this one, it doesn't take any effort on your part. It's allow. It's the simplest step, but the most often overlooked. The universe is eager to provide you with anything that you want as long as you're clear about it and that you don't get in the way. See, the universe shows you window after window of life experiences. You select, you try it on, you feel how good it feels. Feel it right now. That's it. You've got to feel it in the present, not someday when you see it. Your feelings are now. What's here and now is what you want. And so when you get something you want, what do? You say, thank you. You see, gratitude is that last little step that allows the good to come into your life. Most of the time we're wishing and hoping and worrying, but that only sets up a resistance to your good. By being grateful, that releases resistance. And gratitude raises your energy. And everything that happens to you is because of the energy that you're allowing or not allowing. Everything is about your relationship with energy. You're either in that state of allowing or disallowing. Now, I know it doesn't feel like you'd not allow good to come into your life. We all want that, right? But there's that other little item there called the ego that's always eager to remind you, oh, you don't deserve that. Oh, give it up. You'd never get that. I wish you could just shut up that ego. Well, you can. Unity minister Eric Butterworth, he speaks about an abundance technique called pursue prosperity. And he explains it this way. We live in an opulent universe. Supply and success are our rightful inheritance. Prosperity manifests not by asking God for more, but by conditioning our minds to pray and accept more of God's good. Sounds a lot easier, doesn't it? And he also offers an affirmation. God is my all-sufficient resource, my instant, constant, and abundant supply. Let's hear that again. God is my all-sufficient resource, my instant, constant, and abundant supply. And think about God is my supply everywhere, evenly present, immediately available as the air that I breathe. That's a really encouraging thought, isn't it? That in the moment a need arises, God is there to give you what you need. So an effective way to put you in a receptive mind is through meditation. Now, meditation is a state of allowing where for a few minutes you stop trying to make things happen. Anyone guilty of that? You're saying to your source energy, here I am, allowing source energy to come through me as pure positive energy. And a big benefit that you'll notice when you start meditating is those things you've been wanting will start showing up in your mind. Well, why is that, you think? Is that all it takes, 15 minutes a day, and here is everything? Well, think of it this way. Because you have already asked and you've been clear about your intention, those 15 minutes when you're not resisting and you're allowing the good to come into your life, that's when things start showing up. So because of your practice meditation, those experiences come into your experience. Now, there are other ways of raising your vibration other than meditation. You could listen to some beautiful music that makes your heart sing. You could go for a walk somewhere out in nature, somewhere beautiful like Key West. You could pet your cat. You could play with your dog. So your whole idea is to let go of thoughts of resistance and just have thoughts of pure positive energy. You can't ever be mad at somebody when you're playing with your dog, right? So find any thought that feels good when you think it. And then you'll find more good thoughts start to show up after that. It's your willingness to deliberately choose your thoughts that releases that ego voice and makes the spiritual voice come through. You're going to replace those hindering ego voices with your inner being's voice. Speaker Randy Gage, you may have heard of him. He used to teach a prosperity class in Unity in Miami for many years. And he explains it this way. The universe cannot place something in your hand if it's clenched around something else. If you're holding on to something negative, you have to release that in order for the universe to bring you something new. And he would say, when people would come to him and ask him for advice, how come I'm not manifesting good things in my life? The first thing he would ask is, what are you holding on to that you need to release? Really think about that. Who or what or when or where are you holding on to that's taking up space, allowing your good to just float around and not come to you? And then he gives an example of something that I can certainly identify with. He said, when I'm feeling distracted and overwhelmed with my work, I look around my office and it becomes perfectly clear. Things are piled everywhere, everything's in disarray, my environment is cluttered and disorganized, and I feel cluttered and disorganized. Just ask Keith, he knows. When I start going around picking things up, that's when I'm stuck and I've got to get clear. So he says, right then, he stops working, he starts making piles on the floor, organizes them by project, and he starts a to-do list of what needs to be done on each project. He said, even if there's 25 items on my list, I immediately feel calm because I can approach each task at hand with clarity and focus. He prioritizes his lists, and he takes great joy checking off each item as he finishes it. So this creates, of course, a positive energy, raises your vibration. You've created a vacuum by getting rid of the disorganization and opened yourself up to calm and focus. So those feelings of distraction and clutter get transformed into clarity, calm, focus, and even great joy. All those feel-good feelings. Because remember, nothing's more important than that you feel good. And that's how they come in. I was having a conversation with a friend just the other day. We were talking about the effects of the quarantine. Jobs that were lost, relationships put on hold, and our daily movements restricted. But what we discovered is that there is really an unexpected result from this isolation. We've had the opportunity, the time, and some space to really assess the priorities of our lives. Have you noticed that? We've taken a step off that hamster wheel of life long enough to look at the parts of our lives that we truly miss. And maybe more importantly, the parts of our lives that we're better off without. We've gotten to replace the distraction and clutter of constantly doing with the calm and contentment of just being. These weeks have given us the gift of discernment. And there's no better time than right now to get clear on what you welcome into your life and what you're needing to release. Are you ready to bring some clarity into your life? Begin with getting clear. Get clear about the circumstances and the people and the things that create well-being in your life. If you see it and feel it, experience those good feelings. Because nothing is more important than that you feel good. And then allow it. Release the resistance to your good and connect with your limitless inner being. Open your heart to the gifts that God bless you with every day. And say, thank you, God, for this life.